Welcome back, my wisdom walkers. And for those of you that may be new to my channel, Life Lessons Learned. In this one, I have a question for you. And this pertains to your best friend, or who you may think is your best friend. So, for me, well, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had a friend that you considered a real friend, but that friend has done something that they feel has benefited you, and you may think it's really detrimental to you? At least you don't see it as being beneficial at the time that they've done it. Let's talk about it. So during this particular time in my life, I was without a vehicle. So I was in the market to buy a car. But how do I say this? Buy it from a someone that was selling their car personally, because you know how, you know, car dealerships can be. You walk out of there paying more for your vehicle than you do for your mortgage, okay? So I was like, I just need something to get me, back and forth to like grocery shopping with the kids and things like that. I had been working and living near where I worked, so I was able to walk to work. But again, I had three young kids at the time, and you got to do grocery shopping and sometimes go places. So having a vehicle is nice. So I was looking through the classified, which is before Craigslist and all of these online things. But sometimes there would be people that would be selling their vehicles and they would just have their vehicles parked out in front of their yard with the sign that said for sale and how much it would be for. So my best friend, of course, knew that I was, looking for a vehicle. And she was like, I don't want you to, like I'm 10, I don't want you to buy anything without me, you know, being there with you. Uh, I'm like, I'm grown. I have kids. I can do this. But some of the time she would go with me and she'd be like, "No, I'm not sure about that. It's too good to be true, there's got to be something wrong with it." And that kind of thing. Well, at one point I had saw a vehicle that was in front of someone's yard with a for sale sign on it. And the people that were at the home were sitting out on their veranda. So they were, out. And I just happened to say, "Hey, is this vehicle is for sale, right?" And they were like, "Yeah, do you think you want to take a look at it?" And I said, "Sure." So I, looked at the outside of it, of course, first to see if there's any indication of like prior damage or anything like that. And then I looked on the inside and it was nice and neat and clean and all of that. And they asked if I would like to, go with them for a test drive. So I myself, I was okay with that. So I was like, sure. So, and it was a couple. So it was a, male and a female. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean couple, but because it could be male, male, or female, female. But it was a male and female couple, and it was their vehicle. So I got in the back, and or did I get in the front? Yeah, I think he had me sit in the front, and then she sat in the back. And we went. It was kind of like noisy. I mean, not like it didn't have a muffler, but it was kind of a loud type of vehicle. So maybe that means it didn't have a muffler. I don't know. But again, I was desperate. I wanted the vehicle, and I was like, "Yeah, this will be good." And so, of course, they were excited and everything. And we talked about what the cost would be. I think they had in the window like 850. So I was like, "Okay, that's still within my parameters of purchasing a vehicle." I had saved up about $1,100, but I only wanted to spend about 800 or 850 for the vehicle because I knew I would have to get it registered. I had to get insurance and that kind of thing. So I count all of the costs of getting something because it always amazes me when some people say, "I could afford the car, I just couldn't afford the insurance." I'm like, if you can't afford the insurance, you can't afford the car. Car needs to be insured in case something happens. But that's neither here nor there. That's my own issue. And actually, that was my issue because I had a vehicle at one point that I just paid off, and my ex husband was in it, had totaled it out, and then without, and because I had paid it off, I didn't maintain the insurance because I was like, it's paid. So that was a hard lesson learned. So after that, I was like, I need to keep insurance. Although, truth be told, that lesson was brought home to me again 20 years later when one of my daughters had a car. I mean, had an accident and a car that I had paid off, and I was thinking, but remember, my mantra is the true lesson of a learning is the application of it. So to say we've learned a lesson and then do the same thing 20 years later, like that lesson wasn't quite learned, right? But I digress. So I was really excited about getting this vehicle and paying them for it and everything and all of that. But because I just happened to see it, I didn't like have the cash on me or anything like that. So I made arrangements to come back to pay for the vehicle and sign have them sign off the title and all of that. So trust me, I was very excited, and it wasn't far from where I live, so I couldn't wait to get back home. I told my best friend, "We're done. We don't have to look for cars anymore." And she was like, "Okay." She was like, "What do you mean?" And I said, "I saw one that I can get. I can afford it. I took it for a test drive and everything." So she was like, "So you drove it?" And I was like, "Well, no, but I was in the car when they drove it." She was like, "Red flag number one." I was like, "What difference does it make if you're in the car or if you're actually driving it?" But okay. And she was saying, you can get the feel of it and just, see how it handles and that kind of thing. But for me, because it wasn't a car lot, I was like, if I don't want to be test driving someone's vehicle and then something does happen, it doesn't have to be on my responsibility, but maybe someone rear ends us. I just didn't want to, you know, be in that kind of thing. So I told her, no, you have nothing to worry about. This is going to be a good deal. You'll see. So she said, well, when are you supposed to get it? And I said, well, I told them that I would go to the bank tomorrow, make the money order out and do what I need to do and everything. And then I'll purchase the vehicle. So she said, well, I'm going with you, which was fine. I mean, she's my best friend. She's actually very knowledgeable in a lot of areas, which is why she's my best friend. It's not like I would have someone that's not knowledgeable in my life as a best friend. Getting off subject again. So, um, the next day at the allotted time, she met me at my house. And remember, I didn't have a car, so she was driving. So, I told her where to go and kind of explained to her, where the house was at and that kind of thing. And I had already made arrangements, of course, with the couple that I would be coming back at this particular time. So as we're driving up, to their home, they're sitting out on the veranda again because, of course, they were expecting us, and they're waving, and I'm waving at them out of the car. I was like, "Yeah, this is about to happen." And she said, "Well, where's the car that they're selling?" And it was right out front. And I said, "It's that one right there." And she said, "That's what you think you are buying?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "It's not that bad." And as I'm waving at these people and they're waving at me, my best friend just kept on driving down the street. She sped up. Do you hear me? I said, what the hell are you doing? She said, you are not buying that piece of junk. I said, what? I cannot believe you just drove past them. I'm waving at them, telling them I'm coming, and they're waving back. She said, so let them wave. It's like, I'm going to kill this lady, okay? She knows I need a car, and I already made arrangements with these people, and I want to get the car. So she kept driving and she said, no, we are going home. You are not buying that car. If I have to take you and your girls everywhere until you get a car, that's what I'm going to do. But I am not letting you get yourself deeper into a hole buying something that looks like that. It probably won't last a good week. If it lasts a month, I'll be surprised. And she said, no, if you need to save up some more money or take some more time and look at other places, that's what we're going to do. You guys, I was livid. Well, let me say why. Because, I told the people I would buy the vehicle for one thing. But that being said, remember how I talked about the power of no and the power of standing up for yourself in situations? Just because we told someone something, if we find out later that that may not work for us, it's okay for us to say, I've changed my mind. I apologize, so I'm sorry, but this isn't going to work out. So to say, well, I should buy it because I told him I would. Okay, so now you're making matters worse for you, for strangers that you'll never see again and won't be able to help you if something does go wrong. So in that sense, I was like, okay, I can see what she's saying. And this particular person has never, in the whole, so 35 years now that I've known her, ever, steered me wrong. So Again, I was upset at first, but then I said, okay, she's right. If I spend all of my 1100 and then something happens a week from now, I don't want to say sweating like a hog, but there's something going on here. Um, so that wound up being a really good thing. And we were, of course, able to laugh at it later on in life. And just to let you know, of course, she was right. I was able to save up a bit more, take my time, and purchase a vehicle that did not give me any problems or anything like that. It was still a used vehicle, and it was still bought from a person that was selling it themselves. But one of the things my friend wanted me to do was to have a friend of hers who was a mechanic take a look at any vehicle that I would be thinking about purchasing so that way they can give me the yay or the nay or how much more money I would have to spend in order to keep the vehicle in working condition long enough for me to actually get a new vehicle or whatever it was that I wanted to do. So I have to say thank you, Ruby. She already knows who she is. And you guys to do too if you saw my best friend that I resisted video. But in a few other videos, like not the next one, but the one after my next one, I'm going to talk about the true signs of friendship and what you need to look for to determine if those that you're surrounding yourself with are true friends or true haters. I'll talk to you later. Remember, this is Sherry, Life Lessons Learned. My mantra is knowledge is in the knowing, but wisdom is in the doing. And again, the true learning of a lesson is the application of it. So keep that in mind. I would love for you guys to share some stories as to how your best friend may have rescued you from any type of situation, whether it's I don't know, relationships, finances, helping out with when you were in the tight spot. Just give me some information as to how your best friend was able to assist you, or if you were the best friend that assisted someone else. So, again, this is Sherry. I do videos on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And if you're so inclined, please subscribe. I really appreciate it. And I do answer all of my comments. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.